All right. So, I made a previous video on sort of an idea that I think can be really beneficial if you are sort of just starting out in, I don't know, building your skill level and sort of knowing what to focus on and how to think about different kinds of career paths. What is a good career path? We talked sort of about passion and those ideas and how what really fundamentally, and this comes from Cal Newport in his book So Good They Can't Ignore You, is that building a skill and being able to leverage your skill to provide value is what is fundamentally important, and that passion is essentially a snowball effect from curiosity and interest in something. But that's that video, and I think a follow-up question on that Cal had as well was, all right, so we have analyzed this problem and been able to see that what matters is building a skill, and that there are different values for different people, and that if you build a skill in something, you can oftentimes leverage your skill and provide value to a particular company or whatever, and then you can have whatever you want in return. So if you want to have freedom, if you want to have being able to impact, whatever it is, that's different for every individual, and depends on your values, sort of personal values. But that's sort of the fundamental thing. And then the question is, how do we build that skill? How do we improve at things? So for me, that is, how do I become a better machine learning engineer? How do I build better systems? How am I able to leverage this technology to build really cool stuff, right? And build useful stuff to society and that sort of thing. So that's the question that Cal approached in his book Deep Work, and I think that's a really good follow-up book on that one. So I really wanted to just share those ideas with you and bring it on a more sort of a personal level on how that I've been able to use that and how that looks like for me. So the essential thing in Deep Work is that he argues that depth is really important. So that means being able to work deliberately and focused on a very specific task that you're trying to improve on. And also that the idea of removing distractions so that you're able to completely get absorbed in work, or get absorbed in whatever you're working on, and that you really need to get away from all of the distractions, and the distractions in today's world are enormous, right? Especially on social media and all of that things. There are so many types of distractions. So he argues for that view where you need to basically find what it is you're interested in. So that's step one. And assuming you know what you're interested in, you have to work backwards, sort of what do I need to, how do I improve at this, or sort of where should I work on to improve this skill. And to me, it is not that important specifically what you're working on. Like there are people that ask me for machine learning specifically, like what should I learn about? What are the best courses? What is the best papers and so on? And in retrospect, I also had those questions, and I think uh, I've changed my perspective where the most important thing is being able to have the mentality of deep work, where just being able to spend the time to go deeply into something. And this is challenging because it's very hard to, not have your phone with you all the time, and checking whatever, like YouTube videos, LinkedIn, and being distracted by something, and sort of being by yourself, uh, working on something, reading a challenging paper, and going deeply into that. That is very challenging and something that I struggle with all the time. So that is, however, what's necessary. And uh, to do that, you need to fundamentally, for me, you need to sacrifice the ability to constantly get distracted or constantly get stimulated. So checking YouTube all the time, that's very stimulating, but it's not very rewarding when it comes to depth. And it doesn't make you happier. You know, there are studies on these things, and social media and all of these things don't make you happier. They really don't, and they really destroy your ability to go deeply, because you know, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, emails, these things are distracting you severely. If you are at least somewhat similar to me, then I think you know, the sacrifice there is you need to remove those distractions and be able to go down on one single, so focus on a single thing that matters to you. And that doesn't mean that you need to do that all the time, right? You can set up like a workflow where you work a couple of hours a day and you focus on that thing you want to improve on, whatever that is, and get better at it. And then, yeah, being distracted by notifications on my phone, should probably remove that. But anyways, you know, that is what essentially matters. And yeah, I think the sort of the in the book, and it was a while since I read this book, but it has been profoundly impactful, where that is the strategy I try to, the workflow that I try to set up. And that is particularly challenging. So I tell you, it's going to be different for everyone. But for me, what's really challenging for me is, for example, if I release a video, I'm very curious sort of how that video went. If someone commented, you know, if people enjoyed the video, or, you know, if I made a LinkedIn post, I want to see how many likes did it get, those types of things. But in the past, I've had a lot of difficulty with, you know, YouTube, checking YouTube too much, and it wasn't rewarding for me. Like it doesn't give me too much. Checking Twitter all the time, scrolling LinkedIn, really far back was on Facebook. That wasted a lot of time for me. And the interesting thing is that when you stop doing those things, when I removed my Facebook, after a while, you sort of wonder, like, what did I even use that for? Why did it's sort of a weird addiction thing, kind of. Not saying that these things don't have value. They definitely do have value. You know, Twitter has enormous value for me, you know, following research and many different types of things, but you should fundamentally view these things as tools. So really ask yourself, what are you trying to get from that? And so if you are combining these tools when you are working, that will distract you and maybe, you know, limit your ability to get things done and improve your skill, which is going to get you a lot further than doing it that way, and probably a lot happier as well. So to me, it is being able to, how it looks for me is that I try to every day to work for a specific amount of hours, and that varies depending on how I feel and what I'm working on. But during those hours, I really try to, as best I can, and definitely not perfect in this, but I try not to use social media during that time. And I try to set up a focus that is very specific. Like, I want to read these 2 papers, or I want to code this, or I want to read about this blog, or read about whatever, or make a video on this. You know, sort of, I want something specific, or just like maybe I'll set up a you know, time and schedule. Like, I just want to check what people are doing on a specific type of area, and check. Maybe I want to check Twitter and research something, you know, or something like that. But during that time, that's what I'm doing. So I set up a specific amount of hours for that. And then when I'm done with that, I try to do something else. This is where I run into trouble, because how my mind works is that I get absorbed into something and I want to do that thing all the time. And honestly, that works for me. I think in general, it's challenging. Some people might enjoy having that structure and having that every day. Every day you work 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, 4 hours, whatever you want, you feel is comfortable and you feel is good for you. So, you know, you work efficiently for those hours, you get what you want done, and then you do something else. Maybe you enjoy working out, you have a hobby, you play games, you hang out with friends, whatever that is for you. But sort of you keep that time where you do deep work sacred. So during that time, you do that and nothing else. And that is a sacrifice, but it's also rewarding. So it's both things, right? You can't watch YouTube shorts at the same time that you are reading a research paper, right? Or whatever that is for you. So that is one thing. For other people, and how it is for me, is that I kind of enjoy getting absorbed into something and then being done or feeling done with it. So I enjoy maybe sort of getting absorbed in a project where everything I'm thinking about is that project. When I wake up to until I go to bed, you know, some days. And then some days I don't feel like doing anything. You know, I might just, you know, listen to an audiobook or, you know, watch a series that I'm enjoying or something like that. Especially after if I've been working for like many, many days intensively on something, and then, you know, now I am tired. That's my reset time. And when I reset, what I've noticed is that it comes back to you, the motivation to do things, because it's sort of been a shift in my head where I've been really hard on myself to do things and be productive. And when you realize that you fundamentally want, like as a person, you want to do things, it's a very freeing feeling, because you realize that if you just relax, you're gonna want to do something. It's not like you do nothing and then you'll want to do nothing for the rest of your life. That was my fear. And that's why I've always been sort of, when I've been doing nothing, I've been, you know, what am I doing? I need to do something, and sort of been hard on myself for taking time off. But really, that time off can be really valuable because it makes you motivated for the next sort of thing to get absorbed in. That's how it is for me. Some other people might really enjoy having that structure, especially if you have, you know, I can imagine if you have a family and so on, then you definitely want to have that some kind of structure where, you know, others depend on you and so on, where you might need to schedule things better. But yeah, anyways, sort of how you build that skill is through deep work. Deep work is fundamentally about deliberate practice. You set up specific things you want to focus on, and you focus only on that. You try to limit distractions as best you can. That means social media for the most of you, or for me. So that is really what I would try to focus on after you have been able to identify what you're curious and interested about. There is something that you're curious and interested about, and go deeply into that. That's what I would say. All right, hopefully this was useful. Let me know if you have any thoughts, and see you in the next video.